Absolutely, Tammy. It is quite a significant investment that Ford have decided to make here in South Africa. I mean, the auto manufacturing industry in South Africa contributes a significant amount to manufacturing GDP here in South Africa as well. Minister Patel, who's with me now, told us that, in fact, the auto manufacturing industry manufactured 620,000 cars in 2019, and all of those cars are for domestic consumption as well as for export. So it is quite a big industry. But without any further ado, Minister, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Won't you tell us, Premier Makura alluded to the fact that this investment was a private-public partnership in action. Does that mean that we will see more of these kinds of fast-tracked investments coming in the future?
Indeed, yes. So today what we saw was a partnership between Ford, an announcement of $1 billion in new investment, and turning the Tshwane region into a absolute state-of-the-art auto production and logistics hub. Practically, it means more jobs for local communities, for women, for small businesses. And it also allows us to up our game in the global stakes, to become, to consolidate our position as the leading manufacturer of cars on the African continent. Now, the partnership that we've done here with Ford is now being looked at in many different parts of the country and also in other sectors. The President announced the idea of master plans with sectors and communities. And what these entail is really saying, how can we change South Africa's job story by working more closely together? In the case of Ford, we said everybody must bring something to the party. So the municipality came with land, the province came with support, financial and other support. National government coordinated all of this with the packages of special economic zone, the support for infrastructure here. And Ford, of course, itself brings in significant fresh investment. That is important for South Africa. So we see this as one example of many new things that will be done in future. In fact, this would have happened even faster but for COVID. And we're working now in other areas to roll out. If I take, for example, South Africa's auto manufacturing, we now, from this plant, this Ford plant, through the fresh investment, will be exporting to more than 150 other countries across the world. The Ranger Bakkie that you see in many parts of the world is in fact manufactured in South Africa. The same goes for other big automakers like Toyota, the Fortuner, and the Corolla is made here in South Africa. The taxi is done here with Mercedes-Benz and BMW and others. So this is a story about a very significant local investment that gives hope to the country, optimism about the future, and it links in with the really big one, which is the African Continental Free Trade Area, an agreement that we've reached with 54 other African countries. And that agreement is to knit together one common area, one free trade area that covers Africa. That dream of Africa's founding fathers, that the vestiges of colonialism, the 55 separate borders, the small fragmented economies, that must disappear into a large market where Africans produce as much as they consume. Yes, that we produce minerals, but we also produce manufactured products.
Minister,
yes, we have resources available, but we also bring innovation and skills to our economic development.
Minister, as we talk about this local investment, there are some companies, large companies in South Africa, that are looking to divest because they feel like they have not received support, the necessary support to keep going. Companies, for example, like SAV, who say they would like to remove or retract their 2.5 billion rand investment. What do you say to that?
I think in the end, if one particular company like Ford sees the opportunity on the South African market and the African market, it sends a powerful message to the investor community that if they want to find viable ways of making money in the long term, they've got to locate in South Africa and they've got to expand their operations here in South Africa. Of course, COVID interrupted many plans. Of course, we had to introduce lockdowns in order to save lives. Every life is precious, and a life lost cannot be ever regained. And so we needed to do something that I think South Africans can appreciate and respond to, which is the first duty of government is save lives. From here now, however, having got to the point where we've learned how to manage and contain the virus through the range of measures, we've had the delivery of the first batch of vaccines. All of these augur well for the future. So I think that companies that may have been reluctant to commit will find that the economic opportunities are here. And if they don't step up, their competitors will step up. Because we also need a more competitive economy. We need many players here. We need to ensure that we deconcentrate and have small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and there are opportunities in the South African economy for that.
Is this also a signal to other companies that they can fast-track the approval processes and the red tape that was restricting their growth a bit?
It's a powerful confirmation that if we work together, red tape can be cut, bureaucracy can be put aside, and we can focus on delivery. So we had here an example of local government, provinces, national government, and the private sector focused together. I want to accept that one of the big challenges with many investment projects is unnecessary and unending red tape. And so we're working in government to get an attitude not about compliance, but delivery. Of course, we've got to do it within a legally sound framework, but we've got to focus on how to get projects over the finish line. We've got to bring more agility and more capacity to move things forward into the state. And an agile state is a huge benefit to any society because it can forge those partnerships between the public sector and the private sector. You look at countries across the world, whether there are countries with the economic and political system like China or the United States, they all work on the basis of partnership.
Minister, thank you so much for your time today.
You're very welcome.
That was Minister Patel signaling to the business community that there is change on the horizon.